Hi, and welcome to the Misguided Salon series. I am your host, Paul Goslin, creator of Misguided, and you are about to watch my conversation with actress Yvette Corvia, who has beautifully brought the character of Breeze to life throughout the last 3 seasons. In our conversation, we talk about Breeze's emotional arc that she has had during this series and what advice she would pass along to actors just starting out in the business. Plus, Yvette's love of soaps, specifically General Hospital. Enjoy. Boom. Hi, Yvette.
Oh, Paul, I missed you.
I miss you too. I think the last time that I saw you, you shot my fiance.
I had good reason. It ruined my life. Oh my god, that was the last time.
I think it was.
Wow. That's one of my favorite scenes. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, sorry. It's
Oh,
um yeah, because I don't think I saw you because you weren't able to make it to the screening after party thing that we did a few months later.
I was very busy working.
Mm.
But I wanted to say about that scene how much fun it was because I've had this idea of being like a murderous bride for a long, long time. And it even came out better than I thought because I always thought I was going to be the murdered one. But to do the killing, it was amazing. And then also to prepare for that scene, it was like, you know what, how we actors love the drama. It was so cathartic to let go of all that stuff, all the gunk you carry around. I really used that scene to kind of just let it all rip out. It was awesome. It was really nice.
Can I say so I that day so we filmed I talked about this in a different interview, but that day with the wedding and all of the restaurant scenes in season 3 we shot the same day. So we started with the wedding and then like did everything sort of out of order. So you weren't really a big part of the wedding until the very end.
Mhm.
So you came and you were so wonderful to like hang out still and be there and to watch. I mean, watching everything happen unfold in front of me, but to watch you prepare specifically for that moment was actually really fun and beautiful for me to see. And it really like I just loved that you were like so fun and like bubbly. It was early in the morning and whatever. And then you were just like, hey, if you could just give me like half hour and let me know like when we're gonna start, getting closer to my stuff. And I was like, absolutely. And then you just like it just like snapped and not snapped. I don't know if that's the right word, but like the wheels started moving and the heart
Mhm.
started bumping probably, and you just got into it.
Yeah.
And then I got to we I for the eye line I sat there and it was just you and I and you're holding a gun like straight at me and I was like, oh my god, this in my head I'm like, as the director I was like, this is turning out so well.
And, yeah, and then as an actress, like, she's gonna kill my fiance. Very.
So let's back up. Let's back up for just a moment. Let's talk and tell people how we met and how you became part of Misguided.
So it was an acting class, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call it acting class. It was Theater 68.
Oh. No, you know what? I blocked that whole thing out of my mind. So I closed the curtain on those memories.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and the one thing I took away from that space was the friendships I built with you, with Katie, with Leticia. Like I met so many incredible people that are still part of my life today
Yeah.
in such a awful environment. So anyways,
We
yeah,
won't talk
yeah.
much about that, but we did. It was through a theater company here, and um, I we worked on a different web series briefly. Like we didn't. I don't think we had scenes. We just sat at the a table together.
Yeah.
At a different wedding, coincidentally. And it was it was also a long shoot day. And I just remember being like so enthralled with you. And I was like, she's so fun. She's amazing. We're going to be friends for a long time. I know this. And so when I was writing Misguided, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but the Breeze character, the name wasn't Breeze, but it also was supposed to be a man.
Oh, wait, I think you might have mentioned this like at the very beginning. So yes, it wasn't written for me, which big mistake.
Well, I quickly rectified that.
You should have been thinking probably of my face. No, it was I think, you know, it's so funny because I do remember you talking to me about it, and I was just like, I didn't even think. I was like, yes, Elsounds, yes, Casting, yes, in love with me, yes. Like, yeah, done.
Picking all those boxes. Yeah, because it was based on a real life misconnection experience that I had in New York with a casting director from Soaps, which I thought was so bizarre. And I was like, I have to some way put this in, and writing it, the real version of it in Misguided seemed a little wonky. So I was like, how can I fictionalize this? How can I make it into like a soapy, dramatic thing? And
dramatic.
Breeze was born.
She was delusional as she was romantic, and as well as absolutely insane. So I loved her.
I feel like, and what's really cool, because of you have been with Misguided all 3 seasons. And so to see an arc that your character has had, because not many, I mean, there are a few that just pop in for an episode or whatever, which is wonderful. And it's helpful to, have that kind of schedule when I'm working with, working actors on Soaps and whatnot. So to have you be able to like build a character and have this arc that ends with such a dramatic moment.
It was so good. It was so good. I actually, it's funny because I really remember our first scene together. And that was just such a fun moment for me because we just were like, okay, let's just have fun. And it was remember how easy it was? We did it so fast.
Breeze, that was the most informative daytime acting class I have ever experienced.
Oh my god. Paul. Oh my god, I thought it was you. I couldn't believe my eyes, but it is you. It's really you. It's my Polly. How are you? What are you doing in LA?
Oh, figuring things out one day at a time. I think that it's official now. I've updated my Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Pinterest and Instagram and my website, paulgoslin.net.
That sounds difficult. Have you been working out?
No.
Well, you look better than I remember. Wait, what about this move?
Oh, it's a long story.
Well, you should come over to my house and we can grab a drink, and I have a couple of bottles of wine, and then we can catch up and you can fill me in on what's going on in your life. Yes.
Sure, that sounds okay. It was so fast, and you were the very first person that I shot a scene with for Misguided. Like, you were day one.
Oh, wow. I do remember that. I think I do remember that.
So we were working all the kinks out.
Because of the alcohol.
Oh my gosh.
I do remember it was the first day, and I do remember how it was just fun. There was like no hang-ups, and I jumped you and you were like, ugh. It was just, I was trying not to laugh at the moment that was happening because it was funny.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved, I knew right away that it was going to be fun because it was going to be good because it just clicked,
Yeah. And we hadn't really, and aside from that moment in a different series, we hadn't really worked together.
No.
Because I don't think we did scenes at the theater company either.
I think we saw each other's work. That's about it. And I remember stuff and you same for you, but nothing. We never done anything together.
Yeah,
Which is funny.
I was really happy when you agreed, and you have a love for soaps too, right? Like you enjoy watching.
Yes, I have a massive love for soap. My is General Hospital though.
Yes.
So when I moved to the United States, that was the soap that I would watch, and that's how I learned English. How I learned to pronunciate and just all the manners and the drama. I loved it. And as a matter of fact, this is a really funny story. When I was starting out acting in LA, I would send out my postcard to the General Hospital casting director with storylines for me.
This is why we're friends. This is exactly why we are friends.
Yeah. It's like, so Yvette can be the cousin and da, 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 and, you know, come in. I continue the storylines in my own thing. And and I just want to say that was my first offer for TV was for General Hospital.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was a major moment in my life because it was a place, something that I wanted for so long, and for it to be an offer. And then, of course, I was so nervous when I finally got to do it.
I remember, so I wasn't watching General Hospital as religiously as I am currently. But I do remember checking out your scene because I was excited that you had booked it. And I remember you playing the reporter, but I couldn't remember who you were asking questions to. And I was like, oh, I'm going to just have to ask and refresh my memory.
Oh, so it was, oh my God. Jackie, the character of Jackie, I had asked her questions because there was something going on legally. You know how they always go into court for something.
Yes.
And so I was asking her all the questions about the new court coming up. So I was not an reporter. I was very angst, very nervous. I said my life like, and I don't like my brain stopped working.
So that day that we filmed the wedding and the restaurant stuff, and we were all together as a cast. That was the first time like the entire cast was together. Did you get a chance to talk to Jackie Zeman, Ms. Bobby Spencer?
Jackie, no, because she was busy when I was. So we missed each other.
Oh no!
But I did get to tell her how much I loved and appreciate her, and how I've been watching her for so long. We had a really nice couple of minutes in the makeup chair where she was doing her makeup. But I also, I just wanted to make sure she knew how much I loved her.
Yeah.
But I also, that's the moment that we take for ourselves. So I don't want to be like, let me keep interrupting you while you're trying to get.
But
and by the way, Jenny, was great.
Hair and makeup is apparently where it all goes down anyway. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I love that part of the whole thing. For me, it's always the one moment where you are zen, you know, and it's like the last bit before you can really, whatever it is you have to think about the character, you just put it in that moment, and then, you can go from there.
Yeah, I always take so long in the hair and makeup chair. I don't know why.
I mean, I can see why. It takes so long. So long for the cloth.
I mean, just to get it just right,
Yes, a little buff. Fine.
So pretty much since I've known you, you have been working. Like you've been on a bunch of shows. You did the pilot of Bad Judge. Right?
Yes.
That was okay.
Yes, I was the pilot of Bad Judge. That was a great role. Really excellent cast. I was a pilot of the second season of oh my God, why am I so bad with names and things? It's HBO's you know the one.
It's on your IMDb. I'll put your IMDb up.
Look it up. I'm really great. But I actually did the last thing that I did that's really fun is like this horror sequence of like every holiday we told like a horror story.
Oh, cool.
And I'm part of the 4th of July. And it was like sort of like a bit of context of what's going on in society today. It was like a color couple and a white supremacist couple, and they kidnapped us. And it's very, but it could happen.
Yeah.
Nowadays. So it was fun that we got to even we got to shoot that, and it's playing now, and it was kind of interesting because it just felt very appropriate for the time, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get to tell those stories that are actually really happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah. And you're kind of a firecracker, so that kind of makes sense.
I like it. So I have a question for you, and I know this is, I'm turning the tables on this.
Please.
The whole interview. Have you started writing season 4?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have. And not only have I started writing season 4, I'm finished writing season 4. I am outlining season 5. Because I'm not filming at the moment, so it was like, why am I just sitting here wasting time? I'm just like, what's going to happen next? And if I can just do a whole bunch of episodes and then sort of release them and do whatever we need to do for that. But I'm really excited for season 4. I mean, obviously Bree's, met her maker at the end.
By the way, I love the death scene. I've always can we talk? Is this spoiler? Can we say?
I mean, it's been out for like 2 years, so if you haven't watched it yet, you're like, ugh.
If you haven't seen it, but that death scene for me, I felt like it was so challenging because I really wanted to nail it, but obviously I've never died before.
Right? It's not something they teach you in acting school. Like, nobody teaches you, here's how you die. Like, this is the right way to do it. Because I don't know if there is a right way. It's just like, well.
Who are you?
A mother with nothing left to lose. What? This is far from over.
I've always wanted that the whole thing. So it was great. It was great to do it. I honestly, the whole prison scene, that was like a real cat and mouse,
Yeah.
And that was really fun.
I love that there's always like innuendos in our scenes. I mean, I love it because I wrote them, but like, because we can play it without it being, we can play it being obvious, but we can also play it like so softly without like throwing the innuendos in your face. There was some in like that audition scene that we had.
Oh,
like, tell me how hard it is, or something like that, or some weird like whatever.
We had a really big one that I could barely get through.
Oh, was it this last one?
Yes.
Just be straight with me. That's all I ever wanted.
Honestly, I couldn't, like, I was like, just keep it together. Just be straight with me.
Polly, I knew you'd come to see me.
I only came for answers.
But Paul...
No. Let me be straight with you.
That's all I ever wanted.
We are never going to be together. But what we are going to be is honest with one another. So when we did our screening, when I did the screening, so we showed it, I invited cast and a few of the donors and friends that had worked on the project together, and I showed the wedding episode and I showed the final episode together. And so when that line happened, it's so fun to hear like an audience reaction to things, but like wasn't anticipating it. And so it just happened. And then you just heard this cackle and it was amazing. It was like, oh yes.
I wish I would have seen that. I would have loved to have seen, because that was hard for me to keep it straight.
Oh my gosh.
So straight for it. It was really fun. I remember even when I read it the first time, I was like, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to say this? Seriously.
Oh gosh. From like day one, we've had this like instant chemistry that I just love.
I know, that was great. I just love, like, I think one of my favorite memories is like on our first scene when I like grabbed your face. That was like one of my favorites. And then, you know, please keep me straight with me. That was, I lost my mind on those. Yeah.
It was, excuse me. So during quarantine, I was sort of like trying to figure out like projects to work on and things to do and like how do I stay busy and whatnot. So I went back and I re-edited seasons 1 and 2 just because I've learned more about editing and things, and so I put like a director's cut essentially for seasons 1 and 2 up, and it was so fun to go back and just watch our scenes together and just see like that growth that we had and just the fun that we had that day in that casting. It was so great.
And she just went from like 0 to 100 really quickly. I love that. Also in the restaurant, that scene, right? That I was trying to get you still. She wouldn't give you up, Paul.
No.
Please didn't want to give you up. You were the one that got away.
As much as my character is the one that loves soap operas so much, your character embodies soap operas so well. Yeah. And it's like from the name Breeze, like I don't even understand where that came. I was just like, what's a good soap name? You can have Brooke or River, Thorn. I was like, Breeze.
Yeah. From the name, from her attitude, from her emotional steps, she goes from 1 to 50 to 150. It was like, and it's like, girl, take a minute. No, she could not take a minute. She was in love. She wanted you to know it. By the way, wearing that wedding dress was everything for me.
It was so fun. I mean, for a while, my Amazon shopping cart was like, or recommendations were like wedding dresses. And I was like, it was a one-time thing, people. Like, I'm not buying wedding dresses all the time.
Yeah, let it go.
But you looked great. You looked not like an overdone bride, but it was just that perfect soap opera moment. And I was listening to a different interview with an actress from As the World Turns, and she was talking about how there was a moment on her show where she was that bride, and I forget, she was marrying, or someone was being married or something. She was in a wedding dress, and she ends up shooting the groom. And so it's her, and like, I think she was outside in the rain or something, and it became like a whodunit type of thing. But like, there's a picture of her holding a gun in a wedding dress, and I feel like that's just been like in my mind.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, just put that in my show because I love like that image is so great.
I loved it. I actually really and to think that I got away with taking the evil from your life. So in a way, you needed her. She saved you. Okay, I just want to say that Breeze saved you.
Well, maybe she's not dead.
No problem.
Speaking of, like, is there like, Back from the Dead is a major soap opera trope. Is there some soap opera trope that you think Misguided should handle in the future?
Definitely the twin. The evil twin that comes in, that has to come in. Either it can be you, Paul. You can have a evil twin, or
maybe.
I can find a really good wig and we can make it work.
Yes. I will say season 4, I don't think this is any spoilers. I don't have Breeze coming back from the dead in season 4. Yeah. But I do.
Well, this interview is over.
But I do have her death playing a major role in my life and in the lives of people around me. So I think that's a really cool thing.
She was the catalyst that moved all the information forward, and you got to figure out who your fiance really was.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Oh yeah. Yeah. After maybe after the interview, I'll share something real fast with you. But it's like my favorite thing so far. So you've been acting for a while. What inspired you? Like, what drove you to move from? You moved from Miami to Los Angeles, right? Yeah. Okay.
So I was in Miami. I went to school there, and then I moved to New Orleans, and I got in front of a TV. I was doing like hostessing gigs for shows there. And I was like, this really intrigues me. Like, I like this. I like television. I like being in front of the camera. And I knew one guy in LA, and he was like, hey, I could, if you come out here, I can show you the ropes. I can, and I was like, yes. So that's what I did. I moved out to LA, and I fucking loved it. I had an agent, I think, within 3 months of getting there.
Amazing.
And then 3 months later, I booked my first commercial, and it just never stopped.
Oh my gosh. Well, congrats.
Thanks.
And you've been doing...
And I just, it's one of those things that I remember, like when I was little, I used to put up shows and I used to do it. I never thought pursuing it was an option, really, until I sort of left Cuba. And then when I was in the States, I saw the possibilities. Like, you didn't have to be the one thing that everyone expected from you. And I just, there was a moment in my life where I felt free. And then I was like, well, if I'm free, then I'm going to pursue this thing that could never probably work out. And it did.
It has. Yes.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of commercial work.
I do a lot of commercial work. As a matter of fact, I just booked another commercial. It's for a bank, local bank, and I'll be shooting in the next couple of weeks. And I'm actually going to have my first COVID test.
Amazing. What a world we're living in.
I know. So it's interesting because I haven't been sick, but I've been very good at maintaining my bubble, et cetera, et cetera. So I haven't had to take the test. Have you taken the test?
I haven't taken a test, but also I have as well been very much in a very closed bubble that,
It's been hard. It's been hard. I mean, you've been writing. I've been eating and drinking. That's been my main focus for the lockdown.
I've been writing, but a lot of it was, I've gone through every stage of what people have gone through in quarantine. I redecorated my entire apartment. Nice. I look like I'm in a dungeon now.
Nice.
These bricks, or I don't like. What was I thinking?
The one thing I gotta say is I never baked bread. Thank God.
One time, I baked one loaf of challah bread.
Well done, sir.
Which is not easy.
How did it come out?
It tasted amazing. It didn't look like an actual loaf because my braiding needs work. Because, I don't really practice a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard.
No practice.
I used to braid my younger sister's hair when I was little, though. Like, I know the three things, and you just, like, overlap one another, and for whatever reason, it just did not translate to dough.
I wouldn't even...
But, it's just practice. But it tasted amazing.
I just hope that my lockdown experience never gets this low to that I have to bake bread.
I hope not either.
Fingers crossed for me,
Yes, of course. Everyone's on their own different journey.
Absolutely.
Let me see. I'm looking through my list of questions. Is there any advice that you would give to somebody that wants to pursue a career like you have had?
Absolutely. And I say this all the time. And I say this to my acting friends that are starting out. Don't be afraid to put stuff out. They're always like, no, I just need new headshots. I need a new video. I need this. And I'm like, while you're doing that, send what you have. You have no idea how many opportunities I got just because I got rid of all my headshots. I was like, I have 300. These are all getting sent out. And a lot of times they look and toss it, but 1 out of 100, maybe.
Yep.
And they call, and then, send the videos. Anything you have, monologues, whatever you have, send it out. Don't be afraid. Don't be always, no, because I need new stuff. And yes, by all means, update your stuff. Have it, but don't send out what you have, even if it's not as great as you want it to be. Because you never know if someone is looking for something specifically for you, and they can see past the bad quality video or the made at home or the headshots that are not professional because they're looking for you. But if you never sent anything, they're never going to find it. So send it out. Do it now. Don't be afraid.
No, I would 1000% agree with you. I
Yeah.
I don't think I have mailed out a lot recently, but when I was living in New York, I would mail everything all the time. Postcards were huge. Like I just mailed postcards all the time. And I remembered there was one I just went through and I just like any casting director, here's a postcard, here's a postcard, here's a postcard. And I sent one to the casting director who handled like under fives and background for Saturday Night Live.
Ooh.
And I was at work one day, and this number came through. I did my quick like Google search. Who's this? What is this number? Should I answer this number? And it was like NBC SNL, and I was like, yeah, hi, hello, hi, I'm right here. And so his name was Matt, and it was over the summer, so it was like even strange that he was calling. But he was working on casting a web series that Seth Meyers and Bill Hader were a part of, and they needed like a bunch of like geek looking guys to stand in line at a movie theater. And so I was standing there, and it was 2 days in Brooklyn. I think I got like $50 each day, which I was like, fine, whatever, whatever. Because I thought to myself, I was like, if I pay my dues with this project, it might pay off in the long run. Because why not? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen for me standing in line in this project with all these people that, you know, could network or whatever? I met I have some good friends that were also, you know, in my little group that we were in. And then, you know, that I think it was like the first or second show of the season, I got called in for Saturday Night Live to do background work. Yeah. And then I think there was like 4 other times because he just knew that I was reliable and like that I was, you know, professional.
Work ethic.
And that, you know, I would show up. And it all started because I mailed him a postcard.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, listen, I know that we don't mail stuff anymore. Okay. No one does. I still have a bunch of postcards. I give them to my neighbors just so they can remember who I am. And they're also 10 years old, so I look much better in the picture. I'm like, yes, I know I look fabulous. Yes,
you always look fabulous.
Tell me more. But
okay.
I emailing or whatever. I mean, I do still do legwork, and I've gotten kicked out of agencies where I've busted in and trying to get to the receptionist, and they're like, you're not on the list. I'm like, oh, I just dropped this off. They're like, you don't drop.
You're like you're like the character in Soap Dish that has like that's singing telegram balloons that like marches into the casting director's office like, surprise, I'm here to audition.
Yes. So I do whatever it takes. You don't know. I mean, listen, I doubt that agency's ever going to call me, but they'll surely remember me.
And that's all you want, right? Is to be remembered.
Yeah, honestly, they'll remember. When I get my Golden Globe, they're gonna be like, "That's a lunatic that worked for our office. We should call her."
Okay, I have one more question, and I don't know how this is going to play out.
Right.
So we don't know if it's whatever. But I was reading on your IMDb that you have been dubbed the Cuban Scream Queen. Is this a correct title that am I imagining?
It's not current by any means. But there was a time, a very specific horror gender time in my life where I did a lot of screaming, and it's quite wonderful. And there was a couple of interviews, and somebody mentioned that, and it stuck. And
I mean, but
this fall, 10 years ago, maybe. If not more.
Well, you know, everyone has a past.
And mine is my scream, which is so good. No, I'm sorry we never got to utilize it.
You know what? I was thinking, I was like, this is my bad. Like, I should have definitely done a little bit more research into who Yvette is and if she could scream. Ugh.
But I don't know if Breeze would have, maybe her evil twin can have some sort of.
Yes.
For the 5th season.
Yes. And do you know what? Breeze also never did this, and I'm a little shocked I didn't put it into season 3. She never had a slap, and I feel like Breeze is a good slapper.
Oh, she needed it, Paul. She needed it.
If ever there was a time for a slap, it would have been last season. Like, Paul, snap out of it.
After the dinner, when you turn her down, that's when she should have slapped
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Damn it, Paul! Why are we thinking about it now?
Hindsight is 2020, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, Breeze. Oh my gosh.
Left me.
That just like such like just like I just embodied the character at that moment. Yvette. It has been lovely catching up with you. Like I miss you with my whole heart. And I'm so happy you came on this misguided journey with me, that you're here today. I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I'll put all your social stuff down below, and people can follow your journey and on the internet.
The internets.
Yes. But again, it was so lovely, and I'm so happy you came to chat with me today.
Oh, it was actually, thank you for having me. I know that I was so happy to work with you. It was such a payoff as an artist for me. The journey that she took was just so you know, cathartic, emotional, and absolute wonderful experience I'll never forget.
Oh, well, thank you. I think that's perfect. I will end on that note.
Okay.
Well, thank you, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next one. Bye, everybody.